Hey parents, this is Rob here in my office. Thank you for joining me for just a couple of minutes. I wanted to reach out to you personally and talk to you very briefly about why Rise Up Weekend is so important this year. Important for you to pray about, important for you to get your kid registered for, and important potentially for you to serve in. Here's a few things that I wanted to share with you. This isn't for your kid. So if you're a student watching this, click stop and say, "Hey, mom or dad, this is for you only." So parents, this is just for you. And I just wanted to speak personally here. Number one, why is this so important? Is because Rise Up Weekend is all about encountering Jesus. We want to say to you that nothing to us is more important to us than that your student would encounter Jesus, whether that's in a saving way for the very first time or whether that's in a renewing way for the second or third time. Rise Up Weekend is about encountering the risen Christ. So we want every student to have an opportunity to receive Jesus in a saving way or to receive him in an empowering, renewing way. So that's our highest prayer. We know that's your highest prayer as a parent. That's our biggest prayer as a ministry. Our ministry is about partnering with parents to reach the next generation with the gospel. And that means Rise Up Weekend is all about your student encountering Jesus. So that's what we're praying for. That's what we are planning for. And that's what we want you to pray for as well. The second thing that we want you to know about is that this year, Rise Up Weekend is going to be unlike previous years in one very specific way. Every year, Rise Up Weekend has been challenging. There's been a challenging part about the weekend, and we design it and we plan it that way. But this year is going to be different because after the weekend is done, we want every student to be challenged to take steps of faith further towards walking with Christ when there's not a big event and when their friends aren't around. And we want to resource and equip every student and then also equip you with the exact same resource so that they can continue what they learned and what they experienced at Rise Up Weekend every month following the event. So for every single student, not only are they going to get great teaching from my friend Ricky Alcantar, who is an excellent communicator of the gospel. The kids are really going to connect with him. We also have some breakout sessions as well that deal with finding your identity in Jesus and not in academics and not in sports and not in social media and entertainment. So there's just a few things that we're going to be offering the students. But on top of that, every student, as a part of their registration, is going to get a journal that's going to help them process what they're learning and experiencing throughout the weekend, but also be a resource for all the days and months following the event. So everybody who comes to Rise Up Weekend, every student is going to get a journal that looks like this. This is just a prototype. This isn't the exact one, but we have designed and customized a journal for every single student where they're going to have every single day, the day's going to be on there, and then there's going to have some scripture for them to read, and then a part on here to process what they've read and to pray that back to the Lord. So a place to journal, and we're going to show them exactly how to do that, and then even something for them to memorize and a catechism question each week, if you can believe that. Catechism with a doctrinal question for them to process and meditate on and think about throughout the week. And so discipleship groups, the D group that they're in throughout the weekend is going to be the group that they stay with after the weekend. And so this will be something that when they meet, they can discuss. And then as parents, we can't give this free to you parents. We're going to charge you like $5 for them. But you can get this journal and you can just track along with your student and just ask them once a week. Just get with them and say, "Hey, what are you reading? This is what I read. What did you read?" And so this is a resource for you and your teenager after the weekend to take with you. On top of that, we're going to have an app that we're going to show students how to leverage the app. The app is going to sync up with the scripture in the journal. We know not all students have phones or tablets, and that's fine. They don't have to have it. They don't need it. But for those who do, and if you do, there's going to be an app. We didn't design the app. We're borrowing the app, but it's just going to be a really, really cool resource. This journal will take every student through halfway through the scripture between now and July. So it's a 6-month journal, and then at the August kickoff, they'll get the second part of this journal. So this is just volume 1, and then they'll get volume 2 at the August meeting when we gather everybody together. We're going to reward some kids and honor some kids who really took this seriously, and then challenge them to keep going, take the next step. And the next step will be the rest of Scripture, the next 6 months until the end of January of next year. And then if we like what we saw, what we experienced, we'll do this again at Rise Up Weekend next year. So it's very important. This is a real kickoff event for this journal and for them to pursue the Lord through spiritual discipline. So that's another reason why the event is so important. One more thing on that is we're also going to have something that we're going to introduce the students to. They're not going to actually participate in the event. We're just going to describe it and detail it and talk about what the students are going to be doing post Rise Up Weekend, and that's the Love Your Neighbor project, where we're going to be challenging students to go out into the city and serve the city with very specific needs, being the hands and feet of Jesus to our city. And so we're going to be sharing some more details about that at the event, but those details are going to be things that are important for them to be encouraged about as a group with their D group, because they're going to be going out a couple of times throughout the year with their group and do the Love Your Neighbor project. So we're very, very excited about that. And the last thing I want to say is that relationships matter. Relationships, as you know, just in your own life, but particularly in the life of a teenager at this season of their life, is so important that they build both the right kind of relationships and that those relationships are meaningful relationships. And the only way for relationships to get meaningful is if there's time attached to that. So we want to carve out time for students to build relationships with other students, some healthy relationships where they're going to get to know each other, and then from there encourage one another, pray for one another, continue to find safety as a group as they pursue the Lord together, and then also to build relationships with other adult leaders in the church, both discipleship group leaders, but then a bunch of other parents that are going to be involved throughout the weekend. So I just want to encourage you. I know that life is full. I know that life is busy. There's competing things every weekend of what you could be participating in. But if you could carve this weekend out and get your kid registered, this is going to be an investment into their life, both for that weekend and for months down the road. And so get your kid and their friend registered, because their registration pays for their friend's registration as well. And then last thing, if you're a parent and you want to serve, whether you have an hour of time or you have a couple of hours or whatever it is, we want to communicate to you there is a place for you. So just come see us, come talk to us, email us, call me, let me know, and we will find a place for you. Because one value that we want to communicate throughout Rise Up Weekend is that students don't just need a student ministry, they need a church. And so Rise Up Weekend is a church-involved event. And so we want to see as many faces and as many parents involved in the event as possible. So thank you so much for listening to this. Thank you for praying for Rise Up Weekend, and continue to pray that the Lord moves in a powerful way, both in your student and in the lives of every student that comes. Thank you so much.